Hello and welcome to probably a most anticipated review of the Norn Emissary for Tyranids for Warhammer 40,000. One of these models will cost you £70 as of the 7th of October when I'm recording this review. It is currently out of stock from Games Workshop's web store, as is a number of other new Tyranid models. And once again, do I need any more evidence to give to Games Workshop to convince them that releasing all of the new miniatures for an army on one day is just not beneficial? But anyway, this kit comprises of 58 plastic components, which coincidentally is only 2 components more than the £30 Lictor model. It's not about the number of parts though, it's about the size. And of course these pieces for this Norn Emissary are larger. There are a number of spare parts which we'll go through a little bit later on, but as always the format of this review, I'll look at the miniature up close, talk about how easy it was to build, compare it to the other build, because it's a dual build kit, the Norn Assimilator model, and we'll also go through some size comparisons. I've got some nice models to compare it with today, so I hope you'll enjoy that. And then at the end I'll go through all of its rules found in the brand new Tyranids Codex. So without further ado then, let's have a little look at the miniature up close. It's a quite large miniature. Medium to large, I'd say. One of the largest Tyranid minis that they produce. It's not really knight size. I think that's what a lot of people were thinking of. There are some pictures of it near in the Codex as well, of it near a Wraith Lord, and yeah, from the looks of it, it looks way bigger than the Wraith Lord, and potentially up to Wraith Knight size, but this really isn't. It's a decent sized kit, don't get me wrong. It's on a nice sized base. It's going to be one of your larger Tyranid models in your force, but it's not knight size, and I think that's what we're really missing for Tyranids. Something that can go up against knights, that is a similar sort of size, and yeah, hopefully we'll get that. But the kit itself was straightforward to build. That's one of the best parts of the kit. I think I built the whole thing in a live stream, which is good. So, well, it's good and not so good. £70 kit, you'd expect to be spending many hours building it, but you can build it within the 3. There is an option to build it as the Norn Assimilator instead of this Norn Emissary, which I'm not a big fan of really. I think, yeah, they show what the Norn Assimilator looks like there. It's got these extra kind of like poison barb claw things. The base is very similar, except for like it's got an extra sort of barb coming out there, which you could put on this, no problem. The head is different. Instead of this sort of sword single blade on the top of its head, it's split into V for Vendetta, and the whole mouth is different as well, kind of Lictor looking. And also it's got these flesh hook things, that kind of these barbed hooks that sort of fire out and then bring the prey closer to it to inject it with these sort of barbed injectors, poison injectors. Rules wise it's good, don't get me wrong, but rule of cool, I just thought that this Emissary looked better. Will I pick up a Norn Assimilator as well as this? Probably. The downside about getting 2 of these and having them as a different build is the base. They both have to go on this base. But I mean, you can make your own base, but it's such a large piece of the model, and there isn't much difference in the legs and the feet and the base. So you're gonna end up with 2 large models with a very similar looking base, which might not be enough to give you as much variety as you might think. But the way I've built it, the Norn Emissary, fun to build, not many parts, which is good because you can knock one of these out quite quick, and then you're up to painting, and I think painting it will be an absolute dream. It looks like a lovely model to paint, to hold, and to pick out all the detail and things. Mould lines, There are a couple, you know, on the claws and the fingers and, you know, the tentacles. It's got this extra tentacle kind of brain thing, lots of different brain nucleolids or whatever they're called. The tail's decent, the legs are decent, the weapons are decent. It looks like a big kind of hive tyrant, gene stealer type creature. It fits in well with the rest of the Tyranid force. So yeah, that's what I think about the Norn Emissary. It's great. It's, you know, just wish it was a bit bigger. In terms of the spare parts then, here are the spare parts. These are all the spare parts that you'd get from the Norn Assimilator. This is an old spare part. This is kind of like for the back head area, a bit of extra armour. These are the claws. Maybe you could put one of these on a base and have a Space Marine standing on it. They're quite cool. These like poison injector type arms. You've got the different head. Again, maybe you could have that as a trophy or something. It's an alright looking head. You've got a different neck for it. A different end of the tail, I think. More of a blade. You've got the flesh hook things. Or the barbs. You've got two different talons, a couple more different talons, the tongue, and then this extra thing for the base, which, yeah, nothing really stopping you from putting that on there, you know, if you wanted to as an extra thing. But yeah, they're all the spare parts. So size comparisons then. Let's kick off with some miniatures from the Leviathan box set. So here is the Tyranid Prime, I think it is, Wing Tyranid Prime. So it gives you an idea just how big it is compared to, you know, I say the HQ of the box set. Compared to the Screamer Killer, which is a big mini, it's bigger than the Screamer Killer, and the Screamer Killer is one of the largest models out there for the new Tyranid range. So it is, you know, the biggest new Tyranid mini that they've brought out. Moving away from Leviathan, if we just look at the Biovore, for instance, that's where the Biovore is. This heavy weapons platform spider type crab thing with 3 legs off the ground because it likes to show off, I guess. Then you've got an Exocrine, which is a big, you know, Tyranid mini, quite an old one now, but that's where it stands next to an Exocrine. I don't have a Tervagon, so I can't give you a comparison between that or a Tyrannofex, but I can't find the Tyrannofex to be fair, but it's going to be a bit bigger than Tyrannofex, so it will be the biggest sort of plastic mini, other than the are they Tyrannocytes, you know, the drop pod things. I think they're bigger, like in bulk. Next to a Swarmlord, which is quite cool. I think they work pretty well together. Maybe you have a few of these Swarmlords as bodyguards for the Emissary. That would look awesome, I think. And then just to compare it with one of my favourite Tyranid models that I picked up from Forge World when it was available is the Dimacheiron. Now, the Dimacheiron, again, still isn't knight sized, you know, believe it or not, but it is very, very big creature with a very long tail. Yeah, this is sort of the size I was expecting the Emissary to be, at least. But there you go. Gives you an idea of sort of the size of it compared to that. Comparison with a few smaller creatures. So I have a Termagant and a Gene Stealer. I know this Gene Stealer is leaping up, but it gives you kind of an idea that it will be, you know, taller than most of your Tyranid force. Maybe you could have a narrative game where you've Gene Stealer cults, and then after a certain number of game turns or whatever, this thing, you know, turns up. That'd be quite nice. And then compared to some other sort of non-Tyranid miniatures, we've got the Ballistus Dreadnought and a Terminator. A fair bit bigger than the Ballistus Dreadnought. Just want to show you, you know, the models from the other side of the Leviathan box set. And then we've got, you know, Space Marine and Slime Marbo and a Primaris. So if you're up against a load of Primaris with this thing, or maybe you've got Space Marine army and a Tyranid army, this is how big it's going to be next to a Primaris Space Marine. Pretty big. Primaris isn't even going to come up to the knee of this creature. So there you go. It's going to dwarf everything in a sort of Primaris Space Marine army, except for maybe a couple of tanks. Just a little bonus size comparisons with some Lictor models. So I did leave these out when I did my size comparison, so I'll just put them here. So there's the Death Leaper, and there is the Lictor. Hope that helps. As you can see, the Death Leaper is just a very, very tiny smidgen smaller in terms of its full height, I guess. But both of these models work very well, and the Von Ryan Leapers work well with it too. Final bonus size comparison, which I think people asked me to do in the live stream, was with a Knight, specifically an Imperial Knight, not a Cerastus is obviously going to be much taller, but there's a Imperial Knight there. Imperial Knights are still very big, very dominating miniatures on the battlefield, but there you go. It's probably up to the armour plate, top armour plate, the carapace of the Knight, but the head is a fair bit taller. And remember, this thing is on a kind of scenic base, as it were. So that gives you an idea there. Okay, this is my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules for the Norn Emissary. As I've said, you find its rules in your brand new Tyranid Codex. The Codex is alphabetical order, but because it is kind of like a HQ leader type creature, and so is the Norn Assimilator actually, you'll find it towards the front of the datasheet section. The Norn Emissary will cost you 285 points, which is 20 points cheaper than the Norn Assimilator. So what do you get for these pretty much 300 points? Well, the stat line reads its movement of 10 inches, toughness 11, save of 2+, with an invulnerable of 4+, 16 wounds, leadership 7+, and objective control 5. Super, how does that compare to the Norn Assimilator? Well, it's exactly the same stat line, except that the Norn Assimilator does not get that 4+ invulnerable save, and that will make all the difference. You know, you've got a 50-50 chance there of shrugging off the mortal wounds and things like that. The Norn Emissary is equipped with a Psychic Tendril, monstrous Scything Talons, monstrous Rending Claws. Its ranged weapons, which is this Psychic Tendril, it has 3 different attributes. You've got Neuroparasite, which is a precision psychic weapon of a range 18 inches, 2 attacks, ballistic skill 2+, strength 8, AP -2, damage D3. That's pretty nice. You've got the Neuroblast version, which is a blast psychic, range 18 inches, 2d6 attacks, ballistic skill 2+, strength 6, AP -2, and a damage of 1. And then you've got the Neurolance, which is a Melter 2 weapon and psychic. It's a range of 18 inches, 2 attacks, ballistic skill 2+, strength 12, AP -3, and damage D6. So nice range weapons. I like that they're psychic. I also like that they are, 18-inch range. They're not too OP at like 30 inch or anything like that. So this thing still has an effective range of almost 30 inches because it can, move and then shoot these psychic weapons. I like the variation with them all. So you've got one that's straight up 2 shots, strength 8, AP -2, damage D3. You've got one that is like a Melter weapon, which is that strength 12, AP -3, and then you've got one that's like a blast weapon, which is only strength 6, but it is still AP -2, but it has a potential of scoring 12 hits there. Melee weapons, it has monstrous Scything Talons, which gets 6 attacks, weapon skill 2+, strength 9, AP -2, damage 3. That's horrific, 6 attacks at strength 9. Monstrous Rending Claws, these are the extra attacks. You get 4 of these. Weapon skills 2+ again, strength 7, AP -2, damage 2. So that's fantastic. You've got 10 attacks there, 6 of which can be pretty horrific. The one thing I will say is that it is a bit weak in its strength of attacks. Strength 9, it's not like strength 10 or 12 or even 14 for this thing, which is where the Norn Assimilator, beats it. Damaged, 1 to 5 wounds remaining. So this is the new kind of rule that we haven't really seen before in any of my rules reviews of 10th edition so far. While this model has 1 to 5 wounds remaining, each time this model makes an attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. That's not too bad because the attacks there are all weapon skill 2+ and ballistic skill 2+. So you know, you're still going to get hits on a 3+ when it has between 1 to 5 wounds, and they have to knock it down. You know, you have to take off 11 wounds for that to come into play. Abilities. It has a core ability, Deadly Demise D6, Faction, Shadow in the Warp, Synapse, and it has an ability called Singular Purpose. At the start of the first battle round, select one of the following. Select one enemy unit. Until the end of the battle, each time this model makes an attack that targets that unit, you can re-roll hit roll and re-roll the wound roll. That's horrific. But that's for this unit here, against another unit. The other side of this singular purpose ability is select one objective marker. Until the end of the battle, while this model is within range of that objective marker, it has the Feel No Pain 5+ ability and an objective control characteristic of 15. Wow, so it really wants that objective. Unnatural Resilience. This model has the Feel No Pain 4+ ability against mortal wounds. Wow, so not only does it have a 2+ save, 4+ invulnerable, it's got the Feel No Pain 4+ ability against mortal wounds, and then it also has that Feel No Pain 5+, just normally, against a specific objective marker. Keywords: Monster, Psyker, Great Devourer, Synapse, Norn Emissary, and Tyranids. So I think it's a very solid model. Yes, it's going to lack in range. I mean, as I say, it's still an effective range of almost 30 inches, so you've got to be careful with that. Take it out with las cannons if you can. You know, it is a toughness 11 though, so that's going to be pretty tricky. Missiles, it's going to be hard to. It's just going to be hard to crack it all round from range. I would try and blow it up from as far range as possible using the most high strength weaponry. You could go into close combat with it, you know, but again, there's still that toughness 11. It's still got so many wounds, and if you go into close combat with it, you're going to feel the effect of those 10 attacks that it can dish out, as well as that Feel No Pain against the mortal wounds, which a lot of the close combat like power weapons and things can inflict. Okay, super. You've said some gushing things about the Emissary. How does it compare with the Assimilator? Well, I'll give you a little bit of a comparison with the Assimilator, seeing as I probably won't get one, or if I do, it will be, you know, in many, many years' time. Well, the main thing you've got to think about is, do you want to go all range or all melee? And do you want some survivability? Because if you want to go all range and have survivability, have that 4+ invulnerable, go with the Emissary. And then you've got some psychic weapons as well. If you want to go for all melee and up close, then go for the Norn Assimilator. Yes, it's a shame that Norn Assimilator doesn't have that invulnerable save as well, and it doesn't have the Unnatural Resilience, which is, yeah, pretty poor in my opinion, for something that's more like melee focused. The main reason you get it, as I say, is the closer, higher damage weaponry, such as the Tox Injector Harpoon, which is very short range. It's a 12-inch range, but it is strength 12, AP -3, and a damage of D6 +1, so that's horrific. It's melee weapons. It still has the monstrous scything talons like the Emissary, but it also has the Toxin Harpoon extra attacks, which, unlike the extra attacks for the claws of the Emissary, this time the Toxin Injector Harpoon has strength 12, AP -3, and damage D6 +1, so pretty much the same sort of profile as the ranged weapon when you use it in ranged. It also has the damaged 1 to 5 wounds remaining debuff, I guess, and it has exactly the same singular purpose ability, but it does have harpoon barbs, whereby when models are falling back on a 2+, they are going to be inflicted by D6 mortal wounds, which is quite fun. But other than that, I think it's more beneficial to go for the Norn Emissary with those psychic, melter blast weapons. It's invulnerable save, its unnatural resilience, and it being cheaper points cost. But what do you guys think of the model or models? Which do you prefer? What do you think of the rules? Please do put your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. It'd be good to hear from you. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for watching. For the Norn Queen.